Manchester United fans, I need you to pay close attention to the transfer that, on paper, has nothing to do with Old Trafford. Manchester City are on the verge of losing Rodri. Real Madrid and Barcelona are now in a straight fight over Rodri. And buried inside all that fight is a domino that could put Aurélien Tchouameni or even Eduardo Camavinga within reach for Michael Carrick this summer. So let's break it down exactly how it works, because the fee, the numbers allow everyone to paint the picture about how seriously this situation has gotten. So without further ado, let's get this party started. Let's start with the player everyone is fighting over. Rodri has 1 year left on his Manchester City contract. It runs out in June 2027. And he is coming off a World Cup win and a Ballon d'Or title that he won 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. He has the platform, you get me? The platform City build their midfield around. He is that platform. The deepest pivot, the ball winner, the man who lets everybody in front of him play with freedom. City have reportedly tried to get him, to sign him to a long-term deal. As of right now, he hasn't. And we all know why he hasn't. That's the entire engine behind this story. If City can't get him to commit, this is genuinely their last realistic summer to sell him for a fee instead of losing him for nothing in 12 months. That's leverage for him. And both Real Madrid and Barcelona know they have it. They have an opportunity to land arguably the best player in the world right now. So let's look at Real Madrid and Barcelona. Real Madrid have been in direct talks with City since last week, and the number attached to that conversation is £50 million. But here's where things get really messy if you are trying to nail down a real figure. The different outlets today have City valuation anywhere from 60 million to over 70 million. And the wider fee speculation this summer has ranged from 50 million to all the way to 75 million euros. So this is what we are looking at in this situation, depending on who you ask and which week you ask them. That's an unusual fee for a 1 year contract of that kind of player, that age, that caliber, unusual kind of tally. Let me say that. The whole point for City is squeezing the maximum value out of this shrinking window that they have going on with Rodri. What changes the temperature today is Barcelona. Barcelona has come into the race. Earlier in the week, they were reportedly just monitoring how City and Real Madrid's conversation was going. As of the last few hours, what we are seeing right now is that they are readying an actual approach of their own, specifically to beat Real Madrid to the signing. If that's accurate, you have got two La Liga giants competing for the same World Cup winning six in Rodri. And that kind of competition usually only moves a fee into one direction. That is always good news for City, for their asking price anyway. It is complicated for anyone waiting on what's next to happen. But what is this? We are absolutely ready for whatever comes with this particular one because it's exciting. Whatever happens with the fee, City are not waiting around to find out, which is the smart thing to do in my mind. They are already lining up a replacement in Ayyoub Bouaddi, an 18-year-old out of Lille, a Moroccan international who broke out at the World Cup. Lille have previously wanted around 80 million euros for him, and reportedly already have personnel term agreed with City side. That is what we are also hearing. He has been described as one step away from the move. So sit with that right now. Let's sit with it and understand what we are seeing. We are already seeing Manchester City going for Rodri's replacement. So in my mind, based on what I have seen so far, I think Rodri is leaving Manchester City. City are not hoping Rodri leaves. That is one thing. And reacting afterwards, that is also another thing. They are actually actively building his replacement while he's still in the squad. That's usually a much stronger signal that a sale is coming. It's closer than a lot of people think, or the club saying it publicly. So why does this matter for Manchester United? Because, of course, we have to look it through the lens of Manchester United. Here's the part that should have everybody that support Manchester United pay attention. Tchouameni is reportedly verbally agreed a new contract at Real Madrid. And by every account, he wants to stay. He's happy there. He's a regular and there's no obvious reason for him to force a way to the exit, except for one conditional situation. He is said to be open to a move specifically if Real Madrid land Rodri as his direct replacement in that same defensive midfield pivot role. No Rodri, no reason for Tchouameni to consider anything. Rodri arrives and then suddenly Real Madrid have surplus sitting in and in that exact position. It goes further than that, to be honest. There is reporting that United are actually considering an audacious double move. Not just Tchouameni, but Camavinga too. Now, is that reporting very credible? It's a little bit shaky. It's a bit shaky, to be honest with you. It's a shaky situation. In a combined deal worth the region of 150 million euros. That would absolutely insane in my mind. Camavinga is a different profile, more dynamic, more comfortable in the box-to-box role. Someone who can play higher up when needed rather than purely holding. Someone who can play the left-back position without having any problems. In fact, some will actually argue that that left-back position might be his best in this situation. Neither move is close to happening right now. And neither player is currently pushing to leave. In fact, Camavinga and Tchouameni have already, well, Camavinga especially, because he did not go to the World Cup, is already training with Real Madrid's team for their preseason. But Camavinga specifically, is described to not fitting into new Jose Mourinho's plans going forward. And that's exactly the kind of internal signal that turns the not for sale sign into, let's hear the offers for a second. Once a window gets late enough, we will start seeing those signs pop up. So the actual chain in this whole situation, in the order, Barcelona versus Real Madrid for Rodri, City cashing in either way with Bouaddi ready to slot in for Rodri leaving City, and only if Real Madrid win the race, a genuine possibility that United could go back in for a central midfielder that they have waited for years. Now let's be honest about how many things have to break right for this to actually reach Old Trafford. Real Madrid have to win the race for Rodri over Barcelona. City have to actually accept a fee in the market where the numbers keep moving week to week. Real Madrid then have to decide that they genuinely comfortable letting £100 million plus midfielder walk in the same summer. They have just spent big to replace him. And United have to be willing to go past 9 figures for either Tchouameni or Camavinga. In a summer where their business so far has been Andre Santos and Yuri Tielemans combined, that has cost them around £85 million total. That's a very different level of spending to what we are talking about here. None of that makes it possible. It just means this is a domino with 4 or 5 separate pieces that would have to fall in the same way, not signing. How would I put this? That domino has to fall in the same way, in the same format, in the perfectly placed for us to even see Tchouameni coming close. Now, this is not a close signing. We are not talking about Tchouameni deciding that he wants to come to Manchester United, because that is a total different situation. Looking at that, we'll still have to then deal with the fact that Man United have to convince him. Man United might have to look to pay him the money that he agreed with Real Madrid, and those things are all up for grabs or up in the air right now. But one thing is for sure, it is worth tracking closely. Not worth getting your hopes up about it by next week, but it is worth tracking very closely. Now, for Barcelona, who knows if, De Jong will be available, because that's also the same position that Rodri plays. And I don't know if De Jong would like to sit on the bench for that situation. But De Jong doesn't like Manchester United, and let's not even bring that topic up because I'm scarred by it. That's the full chain, start to finish. If Real Madrid win the Rodri race, this becomes one of the stories of United summer. If Barcelona pull it off instead, the whole thread closes overnight. I'll be tracking it the moment either side moves. I will let you guys know. So let me know in the comments if United only get to pick one, Tchouameni or Camavinga. who would you pick? I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.